Thank you, Benjamin, for such extraordinarily beautiful words. I cherish this friendship based on truth and love very much. This friendship is what brings me here this evening. So it must be a good thing. I join this event every year, and that's actually my one-time experience during the year of teaching outdoors, and that's also an exceptional experience. Although I'm going to speak, this is not a lecture. I don't have a sort of an organized plan for teaching. It's more like a sharing and a meditation. Sharing in the sense that we're simply exploring some very intimate type of experience, state that is completely shareable because we all share the very same being. And a meditation because whatever is going to be spoken of is just a pointer in the direction of meditation, which means that if we could, perhaps we could meditate while we're listening, turning whatever is being said into self-reflection. This means that if you're going to remain with your eyes closed, for example, for some time, don't worry about becoming disconnected from the lecture. It's all about listening, internalizing, understanding something from within as a description of your own inner reality. So Benjamin suggested that I would talk about the topic of joy. I understand that joy is a sort of an underlying or general principle during these days. I will not do it so directly. I'm going to speak of joy indirectly, but I think we will end up at the very same point of what joy really means. And as my basic statement, the one that I'm going to use as a sort of a guiding light throughout this talk, I'm going to quote one thing that Jiddu Krishnamurti, I don't know if you know Jiddu Krishnamurti, the 20th century philosopher and spiritual teacher, and he once wrote to a friend, "Life is a strange business. Happy is the man who is nothing." I will repeat. Life is a strange business. Happy is the man who is nothing. And this sentence, sometimes you read so much of what spiritual teachers say, huge books, but eventually you remain with some very simple sentences. And this one sentence has remained with me throughout the years. Happy is the man who is nothing. This sentence connects happiness and being nothing. What does it mean to be nothing? What is this type of happiness of being nothing? Usually our joy, the joy that we seek, is the joy that we seek as a personality, the joy that we seek as something, as a someone. But here we are talking about a very different type of joy, a joy that is connected to the very opposite of being a nobody, a no one, nothing. And that's very much connected to the joy of meditation. The reason that we experience joy in meditation. But let's talk about it soon after a meditation, okay? Let's do some guided meditation. Of course, the meditation will be completely connected to the talk. And this meditation is, I call it being breath. Being breath as being someone who is being breathed by something. Because usually we speak of breathing as something that is active, something that we do. Breathe more deeply, more slowly. But here we are looking at breathing from a very different angle. So let's close our eyes. And as we tune in to the rhythm of meditation, let's first simply turn our attention to the breathing process. The breathing process, just as it takes place naturally, effortlessly, through our nostrils. Constantly, air is entering into the nostrils and coming out the nostrils. And please, as you are focusing on the breathing process, don't try to manipulate it. Don't try to relax it or to change it in any way. On the contrary, just become aware of the way it is naturally taking place without your intervention whatsoever. It is a sort of a miracle, a form of grace, because it doesn't need your intervention. As long as we're quite healthy, we don't need to worry about the breathing. It is just like the digestive process that is automatic. So now as you're relaxing into this natural rhythm of the breath, realize that you are not participating at all in this process. You're not doing it. This one activity, the most fundamental activity that keeps you alive. Which means that you're not deciding to live. Something else is doing it for you. Something else is breathing you into existence. So just relax into this feeling and perhaps begin to feel the presence that surrounds you and that is breathing you into existence. It is filling your nostrils and lungs with air. It is evacuating air from your nostrils. Perhaps you can even feel this presence as if it were behind your back. Something that is greater than you, that keeps breathing you into existence. Try to contact this mysterious presence. And try to look into it. What is breathing you into existence? Who or what is it? Who is the breather? Try to see if you can surrender, feel more and more comfortable in the hands or arms of this breather. Feel how you're letting go into it. And then slowly realize that this breather is also breathing all other sentient beings on this planet into existence. Everyone here in this space is being breathed by this breather. So feel the presence of this one breather that is breathing everyone into existence with every in-breath, with every out-breath. Now try to see if you can shift your identity from the body that is being breathed. Move with all your being into this mysterious breather. So that you can look from the breather, from behind your back, at the body that is being breathed. Now slowly pour this mysterious being into the body. And bring your presence and attention back to the simple breathing process. And you can slowly and gently open your eyes and come out of the meditation. Or remain in it, it doesn't matter. So for me, this meditation is like a form of prayer, because it is our way to recognize that that in every breath we actually belong to something greater. And that's a natural, simple reality. It is not some kind of esoteric claim. It is not imagination. It is clear that there is something that is breathing all of us into existence, and recognizing it through the breathing is a very direct way of recognition. So what I want to talk about is deeply connected to this meditation, obviously, and also to the Krishnamurti sentence, "Happy is the man who is nothing." And I want to talk about meditation from perhaps an unusual perspective. Perhaps we don't think in this way when we enter meditation, and it's good always to deepen our understanding of what happens when we meditate, why we meditate, and why we are becoming so happy when we meditate. And the perspective that we are going to talk about, and you will, at a certain point after I've stopped chattering so much, you will be able to ask questions and to share, and I welcome that very much. What I want to talk about is the perspective of meditation as true humbleness. True humbleness that we can also call blissful insignificance. And perhaps we usually don't talk about humbleness in this context. But it is actually can be a very beautiful and authentic experience in meditation. And also, this is just a description of what is actually taking place. Many years ago, when I was 21 years old, which means 20, or maybe it was, yes, 23 years ago. Sorry. Yes. Don't worry about the time. Then I participated in a silence retreat. It was in Sinai, in the Egyptian desert, which is quite an extraordinary place. And I took the silence very intensely. I remember that the day before, the night when we entered the silence, for me it meant like dying. I took it so passionately, so totally, that I said to myself, perhaps I'm not going to come out. Perhaps that's the end. I'm not going to speak anymore. I'm not going to communicate anymore. Let's die into this retreat. And in this spirit, I entered. And then one morning we slept in tents. One morning I woke up in the tent with a very blissful realization. The realization was that the world can do very well without me. Suddenly I realized, because I was already in my thought experiment, I was already dead in the silence retreat. I was removed completely from life. I realized that the whole world is going to continue without me, and everything is going to be well. It doesn't have to be on my shoulders. I don't need to feel the burden of responsibility. The world doesn't need me to manage it through my thinking. It's doing really well. And this very simple understanding released a tremendous bliss. tremendous lightness. The world didn't need me. This is sometimes not our feeling, and here is the opposite of true humbleness or blissful insignificance. And the opposite is self-importance. And sometimes we think about self-importance as being extremely arrogant, thinking that we are amazing beings. But this is not how we speak of it in our context. Self-importance is the feeling that our thinking gives us that the entire universe revolves around our story. It's when our attention becomes so drastically limited that it seems to us through our thinking that all that exists is our story. The story that we have in our head, the story of our problems, the story of needing to fix our problems, our worries, our drama. And this is very strange, right? Because I think that a few hundred years ago there was the Copernican revolution. Right? We all know of the Copernican revolution. It just hasn't reached our thinking. In the Copernican revolution, they have discovered that the universe doesn't revolve around, that our Earth is not the center of the universe, but actually the Earth revolves around the sun. And that made us scientifically insignificant. That was, I think, a very insulting moment in humanity's big drama. But there was, by the way, an amazing and very known video of cosmologist Carl Sagan that he meditated on this picture that now we're having of Earth from space. And he said how from space this huge drama of humanity is actually a tiny dot. He called it the pale blue dot. And he encouraged us to meditate like that. So this kind of scientific breakthrough was amazing, but in our reality, in our daily experience, when we are so deeply engrossed in our thinking, we lose sight, we lose touch with this experience that we are actually revolving around the universe, around the sun, and we feel that everything is centered in us and is about us. This is what I call, in our context, self-importance.